You finally sit on the couch. A heavy, muted thud of a body impacting soft fabric is heard. Your dog immediately drops down and releases a heavy sigh. You instantly feel a sudden wave of pet parent guilt. Are they profoundly bored or deeply disappointed in your choices? We naturally assume they are expressing a complex human emotion, like sadness or frustration. But what if I told you that dramatic exhalation is actually a biological signal of trust? It has absolutely nothing to do with judging your lifestyle. Let us decode this fascinating canine behavior without human bias. This is really not your fault. Our human brains are hardwired for social scanning. We constantly search for emotional subtext in others. When a human friend exhales loudly, it matters. We immediately assume they are frustrated or exhausted. As primates, we naturally project these complex human social emotions onto our dogs. This is a profound cross-species misunderstanding. You hear that dramatic, heavy sigh from the floor. Your mind races through everything you did today. Did they not get enough time outside earlier? Are they quietly judging you for skipping playtime? We burden ourselves with unnecessary guilt because we interpret canine sounds through a purely human lens. You must let that guilt go. Dogs do not process passive-aggressive emotional resentment. They do not hold grudges about slightly delayed walks. They certainly do not sit around judging your productivity. You know, I talk to you like a person because you're the closest thing to a human confidant I have. Assigning human spite to your dog creates an invisible barrier to true connection. They live entirely in the present. Canine communication is immediate, physical, and deeply practical. They use vocalizations to manage their current internal state. A sigh is never a personal critique of you. It is a purely physical reaction to their environment. To truly understand your dog, we have to stop expecting them to act like little humans. You are doing a great job. The love you feel for your dog is real. The bond you share is already incredibly strong today. We simply need to adjust our internal translation manual. We need to view them as a fascinating canine. Removing the human emotional baggage makes the truth beautifully simple and profoundly clear. True empathy begins with accurate observation. When we stop projecting our own daily human stress, we can finally see what our dogs actually need. Your dog desperately wants to communicate with you clearly. They just rely on entirely different biological signaling methods. By dropping the human narrative, you open the door to a deeply authentic, totally stress-free relationship. Let us look at the biology. Dogs experience the world through high-definition sensory input, constantly. Their nervous systems process massive amounts of environmental data. Scent molecules and auditory frequencies demand their total physical focus. This incredible biological vigilance requires an immense amount of internal energetic processing power. When your dog finally lies down and sighs, they are manually overriding their sympathetic nervous system. It is a biological reset button. Throughout the active day, their arousal levels naturally peak. Cortisol and adrenaline slightly elevate during play or alert periods. When the house finally calms down, their body must transition. The heavy sigh physically forces their heart rate to slow and their muscles to release. That deep exhalation engages the parasympathetic nervous system, transitioning them from active alert to deep rest. Watch their body language change instantly. As the air leaves their lungs, their physical tension dissolves. You will see their heads sink heavier into their paws. Their facial muscles soften, dropping the alert, forward-facing expression. Ethologists consider this a profound display of environmental satisfaction and physical self-regulation. They are literally deflating the accumulated sensory tension of the day into the safety of the floor. Why do they wait for you? This is the most beautiful part of the entire translation. Dogs are deeply synchronized with their primary human attachment figures. They often wait until you are completely settled to relax. Your active movement around the house keeps their protective monitoring systems engaged and alert. When you finally sit on the couch, you are biologically signaling that the environment is secure. You are the ultimate safety switch. Your settling down provides the permission their nervous system needs. They are not sighing because they are frustrated with you. They are sighing because you have successfully anchored the pack. That dramatic breath is the sound of absolute trust in your leadership and spatial awareness. It is the biological equivalent of taking off a heavy backpack after a long, exhausting journey. It is a compliment, not critique. So, next time you hear that heavy air rush out, do not spiral into anxious thoughts about their daily fulfillment. Recognize it as a masterclass in mammalian stress management. Your dog is expertly regulating their internal chemistry simply by using the power of their breath. They are transitioning into a restorative state, and they waited for your presence to do it. Embrace this clear moment of peace. Understanding this ethological truth changes how we share our homes. It replaces our human insecurity with deep, quiet canine appreciation.
Their sigh represents the closing of the active vigilance loop.
We can learn so much from their ability to instantly discard tension when safety is confirmed. This physiological shift is a beautiful reminder that our calm energy directly creates their peaceful rest. Notice the mechanics of the breath. It almost always happens with their eyes half closed or shutting. The rib cage expands fully before collapsing completely into the ground. The exhalation is pushed through the nose, creating that distinct sound. This specific respiratory pattern maximizes the stimulation of the vagus nerve to calm the heart. By translating this sound accurately, we move from anxious pet parents to informed, empathetic canine guardians. Here is the precise visual checklist. While most sighs indicate a deep physiological relaxation state, context is everything when translating complex canine body language. Sometimes a sigh is an appeasement signal requesting space. We must observe the entire body to understand accurately. From the wide eyes and pinned ears, you can differentiate between deep rest and subtle stress by checking their eyes. If their eyes are softly closing as they exhale, their nervous system is actively powering down. Look closely at the brow line. A relaxed dog will have entirely smooth facial muscles. There should be no tension around the muzzle area. Their head will rest heavily and completely flat down. This is the classic signature of the contentment sigh. You do not need to do anything, but enjoy this moment of tranquility. Your micro-habit here is to simply let them rest and validate their feeling of absolute security. Now, observe the wide open eyes. If your dog sighs but their eyes remain open, if they are staring at you with furrowed brows, this alters the ethological translation of the breathing behavior. This is known as an active sigh of appeasement. They are trying to release tension while remaining vigilant about an uncertain situation. They might be unsure about your sudden movements, a strange noise, or a new object nearby. Check the ears and the mouth. Are their ears pinned back slightly against their skull? Are they licking their lips immediately after they sigh? These are clear signs of low-level canine anxiety. They are essentially asking for a little more space. When you see this combination, do not rush over to comfort them physically. Reaching into their space when they show appeasement signals can accidentally escalate their internal stress levels. Implement the simple 2-second rule. If you spot an open-eyed sigh with tense muscles, just avert your gaze slowly and blink very softly. This mimics their own natural calming signals of peace. I'm lowering my threat display. I'm taking off the pressure. This tiny adjustment in your behavior provides massive relief to their nervous system. By simply turning your head slightly away, you prove you are a safe and understanding partner. Let them control the physical interaction. Give them the choice to approach you for affection. or allow them the freedom to simply observe quietly. This builds incredible trust and deepens your daily bond. It proves you actually speak their native biological language. They learn that their subtle requests for space are always respected and honored. This is how we move beyond basic obedience training and step into true empathetic canine partnership. Master the daily art of observation. You now have a reliable framework for daily decoding. You can easily distinguish between contentment and mild stress. Your living room becomes a place of shared understanding. Practice looking at the whole picture before you react. You are no longer guessing what your dog needs. You are actively listening. The next time they sigh, you will know exactly how to support their physiological and emotional state. When we finally stop expecting our dogs to communicate exactly like human beings, we open our eyes to a much deeper biological connection. Their heavy sigh is not a judgment of your daily choices or a symptom of boredom. It is a beautiful mechanism of internal physiological self-regulation. By simply observing their eyes when they release that long, dramatic breath, you transform your living room into a mutually shared sanctuary. You learn to validate their deep relaxation while safely honoring their subtle requests for gentle space. This profound biological empathy completely removes the unnecessary pet-parent guilt. You are doing an absolutely incredible job providing a secure daily environment. They wait for you to settle because you represent total safety. That shared moment of calm synchronization is the absolute pinnacle of the modern human-canine bond. Your quiet presence directly allows their nervous system to fully rest. Recognizing these tiny physiological shifts brings an immense sense of peace to both species. This is the true power of accurate ethological translation every day. When you listen with your eyes, you realize how desperately they want to communicate with you. But what happens when their silent communication feels slightly too intense? If your dog constantly locks eyes with you from across the room, you will definitely want to click and watch my next video on decoding the canine stare. We will translate the fascinating biological truth behind that unwavering focus. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn their native language today.